Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. Today, I am so excited for our guest. Fabienne Fredrickson is with me today, and she is somebody who I have been aware of for a long time, as I imagine you probably are as well. And today, she is going to share a lot of her wisdom with us on this episode. So, Fabienne, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to get to chat with you today.
Me too, Krista. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to get into all of the good stuff. So she is a beloved mentor to thousands of women in business. She's the founder of the Leveraged Business Program, and she's reverse engineered how to scale her business to several million annually. And she's had a multi-7-figure business for a very long time. So really excited to dive into that today. But the key is that she's done it while remaining powerfully feminine. So her book, The Leveraged Business, How You Can Go from Overwhelmed at 6 Figures to 7 Figures and Get Your Life Back, is really a definitive roadmap showing women how to increase their income, how to increase their impact, and how to do it with heart. So today we are going to be talking about leverage and how you can create a 7-figure leveraged business. So I'm so excited to dive in. But before we get to all the questions, I just want to hear a little bit more about what you're so passionate about helping your clients within your business. What wakes you up and fuels you and you can't wait to get into your day to help your clients with?
So I figured this out over the last few years, Krista. I started off like most business coaches, on the phone, 30 minutes, a week kind of thing, and just helping people get their clients. And then after doing so many events, meaning my own 3-day events where like hundreds of people in the room and woman after woman comes up to the mic. And there's almost this desperation of trying to figure this out. And as I would just hear them deeper and I go deeper into the why behind this, I've realized that there is an unspoken about economic imprisonment of women. I know this is like something that nobody is really addressing, and it sounds kind of um, down, but there are so many women who don't have a choice or a voice, even in lovely relationships, even when they are affluent, because they're not making their own money. And what I've realized is that when a woman makes her own money and lots of it, she feels safe in her world. She feels safe to leave a toxic corporate job or a toxic situation. And she starts taking care of herself and being bolder and taking more space, using her voice bigger. And there's just something that stirs my soul about giving the ability to women throughout the world to make their own money and lots of it. It's not about greed and accumulation and let me show you how many, Italian sports cars I can fit in my garage. It's more about, yeah, feeling safe and financially secure for herself and all those who love her and depend on her.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful because really it gives you choices. And I think when you have choices, that's really the key to everything. You don't want to feel stuck on a particular path. So I think that's really beautiful. And I think that's why you've probably had so much success for so many years, aside from just being a brilliant businesswoman
Mhm.
and marketer, but you also actually do this with heart. So I wanted you to share your story for anyone who might not be as familiar with your work.
Thank you.
All right, so something I want to dive into is the fact that you have run a multi-million dollar business for a lot of years now,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people struggle to even break into seven figures, let alone multi seven figures. But to be able to do that and maintain it and continue to scale your business over these years, I'd love to hear any tips that you have to share or anything that you think our listeners could leverage to really get to a similar place in their business.
Yes, I'm glad you asked. And there are other people who have I've been at multiple seven figures, multiple million a year for I'm going on 15 years, which is, and I work about 2 to 3 hours a day. And the thing that I want to get, there's other people doing it, but those that I know don't have kids. And I have 3 kids. And in fact, I crossed the $1 million mark when I had two little ones and one on the way. And there are many tips, and I'm happy to unpack everything and just give today. But I will say this one thing: if um, if you have a very busy personal life as well because you're a mother or because you've got lots of things, it's really important to get your needs met at work and at home. Get support and create systems so that not everything depends on you. And I think that there's a big mom guilt that again, not too many people talk about publicly, of this idea of, well, I want to show up fully for my business and I want to really be a good present mom, but I don't know how to do both. And so I steal from one to give to the other, and I flip flop that stealing all day. One more email and mommy will be right there happens just too often. And going back to the computer after putting the kids to bed is a very regular thing for people before I teach them my method, and I'm sure before working with you as well. The key, once again, is to not feel guilty about getting help. So get as much help as humanly possible that you can afford for your business, but don't skimp on the help as at home as well. It's okay to have somebody watch your children. I did it with, the person, the nanny or the au pair being in my home while I worked at home. And it's also okay to have somebody help you undo the dishwasher and clean the house, not from a place of anything other than I get to be a more present mom and I get to be a more present business owner so that I can shut down my computer at 6 or 6:30 p.m. and not touch it again until 8 or 9 a.m. the next day, and I don't have to work evenings and weekends and things like that.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. And I know for me, I have a lot of support in my business, but it was getting a personal assistant that I
Mhm.
felt like really gave me that sense of relief. Somebody to even open up and process my mail and pay my bills for me and do silly things like that to coordinate my grocery deliveries. And just having all of that off my plate let me not always feel like I had something I needed to be doing while I was working, and it
Absolutely.
lets me, yeah, enjoy my time when I'm not working, so I'm not doing things that for me are not fulfilling in the slightest.
Right, and they're
So
just all those little things pile up, whether it's going grocery shopping or returning the Amazon boxes or figuring out, oh, darn it, I forgot to get a birthday present for little Timmy's birthday party that he's going to. All of those things add up and they steal from your family time, like we mentioned, and they also steal from work time because it weighs. So the more you can get help, personal assistant, an errand runner, a virtual assistant, just as much help as possible. You deserve it. You are worthy of it. And it is not a cost, it is an investment in you using your time to grow your business exponentially as opposed to running these, errands and things like that.
that was a brilliance right there. It's not a cost, it's an investment in growing your business exponentially. I love that so much, and I think that's so true.
Mm.
So What I want to talk about next is for the listeners who maybe feel like they're a little plateaued. Maybe they've been at six figures or multi six figures for a while, but no matter how much harder they work, they can't seem to break through to seven figures. I know you're really big on not working harder. So,
Yeah.
can you share some of your strategies and some of your insights for how to break through, but actually get your life back and get your time back?
Yes, and that is the premise of the entire book that I wrote called The Leveraged Business. Here's the concept. In fact, I have some index cards on my desk. I want you to imagine that on this index card it says delivery, which is basically client work. If we were to ask our friends who are employed for a corporation, they get paid to deliver whatever it is that they're doing, right? Client work or whatever. They clock in, although nobody clocks in that much anymore, but they clock in at 9 and they clock out at 5, and they are responsible for the delivery. We are responsible for the delivery too. But then there's another index card, which is marketing. And then there's another index card, which is selling. And then there's another index card, which is customer service and finance and recruiting and managing and all the other things, including buying light bulbs and more toner for the printer. And when you realize that you have at least four full-time jobs, you have to get that what got you here, wherever you are now, whether you're at six figures or multiple six figures, your approach to marketing, your approach to selling, your approach to delivery, your approach to having a team, and your approach to systems will not get you further. So we start the book, the Leverage Business book, with what got you here won't get you there. That is an era that is over. And if you want to move to the next level using your words, or you want to move to seven figures with your life back, you need a new strategy for everything. It sounds overwhelming, but it's not. It's about starting to think like a seven-figure business owner who has not sacrificed their life and who can take 14 to 16 weeks of unplugged vacations a year. It's about applying the concept of leverage. So when you look up the word leverage in business, you'll see a lot of things come up about leveraging other people's money to invest in real estate and things like that. When I talk about leverage, I talk about putting in a little bit of effort and getting a great result, output. So think about a lever. If you've got a big boulder that you want to lift up, we're not going to put our arms around the boulder and try to lift it. Impossible. Or a car. Instead, we're going to use pressure on a lever. Little pressure, a lot of results. So where do you start with that? It's about thinking of how can I do less better? How can I leverage a team to get better results that I'm getting now without me being in the day to day operations of the business? We start thinking, oh, I can't afford the team. Well, actually, you can if you've got the right people working on the right things, following the right systems. When you start thinking about leveraging your time and you look at the Pareto principle of 80-20, right? The 80-20 rule. Most of us are working on 80% of activities, 80% of our time is working on activities that only produce 20% of results. The leveraged way of doing that is to figure out what works and to leverage your time so that you eliminate all the stuff that's really just busy work or, shoulding, and to work on the 20% of activities within your unique brilliance. And we have exercises that we talk about in the book that show you how to figure out what those are. And those are the activities that bring you 80% of results, which means you work less. So you work less because you have a team. You work less because you have systems. You work less because you're leveraging your time. And when you start thinking about your business model and thinking, okay, instead of one to one or the whatever your business model is now, where you're tapped out, there's no more time and no more of you to go around, so there's no more money to be made. If you think about the fact that there are literally countless different permutations about how you could get your result to your clients without as much of you holding their hand, that's when you can help more people working less. And then there's more things, leveraging your marketing, leveraging your accountability, leveraging your differentiation, and leveraging your lifestyle by bringing on a second in command who can run your business for you and with you. It changes everything, Krista. You start working less, focusing on exponential growth activities. We teach all of this, it's also in the book. And you get better results with less time. So, just to summarize that whole thing, is to strategically understand that what got you here can never get you there, because to 10x your business, you can't work 10 times more. You don't have more hours and you don't have 10 times more energy. It's about strategically doing less better.
Brilliant. And for all of you listening, you know I am all about strategy planning systems team. I probably say it in every podcast episode. So, this is why I knew you would be so happy with this interview, because Fabienne is brilliant. She has done this incredibly well. Her book is exceptional. So, tell us a little bit more about the book for anybody who may
Mm.
not have read it yet, because I think you all should definitely pick up a copy of it.
Yeah, it took me 8 years to write, Krista. People would ask me, "How are you taking so much time off? Is your business continually scaling, and you've got three kids?" And I reverse engineered it, and then I really worked it out so that the book is extreme value. It's not one of these books that you read and you're like, "I can't believe I just wasted 6 hours." Instead, it's like, "Oh my God." So it's the 8 leverage activators. You can get it on boldheart.com. It's free on the website. Just pay for the shipping. And the reason I want to be super transparent about why I've taken all my expertise, put it in a book that I'm giving away for free. And this is the part about doing business with heart and authenticity and transparency. I know that there are millions of women at six figures right now who are lost. They're stuck at a plateau. They don't know how to move to the next level, and they need some help. I'm interested in them getting results in advance. I'm interested in the woman who reads The Leveraged Business, reads the introduction, and says, "Wow, how do you know me so well?" And then she starts reading chapter one and is just blown away. Chapter two, blown away. My intention is not for you to finish reading the book. I want you to put down the book, take the assessment on the Bold Heart website, talk to one of our people. And if you want to get to seven figures very, very quickly, that is a shortcut. It's a program that pays for itself, and it starts with the book.
Brilliant. And one of the other things that I really like about your work and about your approach is that you do really look at how to do this in a feminine way, because there's so many strategies out there that we're hit with all the time that are very masculine in nature when it comes to growing or scaling your business. A lot of times it's about hustling and doing more and working harder and hitting them with harder messages. And it's just a lot of it is stuff that I don't know. I don't resonate with at all. I know a lot of my listeners do not resonate with it. So, can you share a little bit about your perspective on this and how you recommend we do it in a much more feminine and aligned way for those of us that don't resonate with that messaging?
Yeah, I just got chills when you asked me that question, and I want to answer it from always my deep truth. So, um, I live in Paris. The reason I share that is because I lived for a long time in the US. Um, One day, flying in from New York to Paris, I got this divine download that said, "Fabienne, the reason you live here is because the feminine is revered in France, and in other places of the world, the feminine is tolerated at best, if not ridiculed. Now, I bring this up. It might seem like a non sequitur, but there is a very real attachment to your question in the sense that women have not been in business for very long. If you think about it, it's probably only been like 30 or 40 years. Okay. When we high achieving women want to be rewarded, we've had to look around and say, well, what is rewarded? The masculine way of being in business is rewarding because we don't want to be ridiculed. We don't want to be tolerated. So we're surrounded by, and our mentors have been men. And I love the masculine. I love men. All my mentors have been men, most of them. But we are presented with bro marketing strategies, bro selling strategies, bro networking strategies, bro, how this is how you run your team strategies, etc., etc., etc. And there is a disconnect for women who don't want to put on the masculine mask and then have to take it off at night. It feels like a total disconnect. And I really do believe that we are wired differently and we do business differently. And the feminine looks different for everybody. There are millions of different, ways of showing up feminine. But what I'm getting at is that from the women that we work with in our community, we want to do business with more heart. We want to do business with more authenticity, more love, more compassion, more connection, more collaboration, more transparency. And you know this probably like me. If you've ever gone into a department store or a store and you're trying on clothes, and the salesperson is practically climbing into your changing room and he goes, how is it, and, oh, those white pants look great on you, and you're like, I know these white pants don't look good on me. You're lying to me. Because there's this hustle, as you call it, and this being hit over the head with a 2x4. I believe that women love to buy, but they don't like to be sold to. They want to feel that they can trust. They want to feel that they will be seen, heard, felt significant, felt loved, even, dare I say, love in a business setting. And when she's got your trust, she'll stay with you for years. And I realized that there was a point at which I drew a line in the sand and I refused to do masculine selling and masculine marketing. And I really do believe the pendulum shifted a long time ago. I've been talking about this for over 15 years. We want to use our own brilliance. And if you look at the feminine energy versus the masculine energy, and I've really studied this, Krista, which is the masculine energy is an energy of pushing. It's an energy of convincing. It's an energy that is a solo energy. It's about accumulation and competition, which is all good. It's a lot of thought and a lot of strategy. The feminine energy is an energy of pulling, an energy of attracting, an energy of uh, collaboration, compassion, nurturing, and also it is a collective energy. There is a lot of heart there. So thinking, feeling. And we as women, or people who lead with their hearts, have almost cut off this side of us. And even though it's been there, we haven't used it to our advantage to grow and leverage our business. And this is where I'm inviting us to not just work from our masculine or cut off the masculine, but leverage your femininity, whatever that looks like for you. Leverage the intuition, leverage the collaboration, leverage this attraction and inspiration, while you leverage the masculine. Every one of us has both. But if you're working at a 50% capacity, you're not going to get the same results. So, in everything that we do at Bold Heart, and in fact, the name Bold Heart, people ask me all the time, why did you call it that? That doesn't sound like a business training company. And I said, because it's the perfect alchemical marriage of the masculine and the feminine, in the sense that I invite our ladies who want to get to seven figures with heart, is I invite them to take their ear and put it to their heart and listen hard. What does a seven figure ideal life mean for me? It's not necessarily about, like I mentioned, all the Italian sports cars in your garage and look at me and all of that. When I've surveyed my ladies over the last 21 years, what they want is that financial security, but they want to be with their kids. They want downtime. They want to travel. They want to feel free. They want to feel fulfilled. They want to do work they love unapologetically. So you put your ear to your heart and you listen hard. That's the feminine. Really going inside. What do I value more than everything? And then the bold part is boldly, bravely, courageously going after it unapologetically. And when you take this feminine and this masculine and you put them together and you give permission to a woman to be the fullest expression of who she is, and part of that is healthy ambition, she goes out there and she creates results that no one expected of her, especially herself. It's the yin and yang that gets put together in a way that nature, everything that works in nature, is a combination of opposites. You can't grow vegetables and flowers if it's always dark outside, and you can't grow vegetables and flowers if it's always light 24 hours a day, 360. So this is, I guess, a long answer to your short question. It's about giving women the space, the permission, not that they need it, to to leverage their masculine and leverage their feminine in a way that feels natural. And there's less stress, less worry, less holding back, and it's absolutely miraculous. We actually did a mini documentary on it, which is on the Bold Heart website, 9-minute documentary about how when we are in community with other women in a powerful way, in an intentional community, it changes everything. When you have hundreds of other women, dozens of other women championing you, encouraging you, celebrating with you, and also giving you a soft place to land when you've had a tough day without anybody trying to change you or fix you, but just to have you be who you are, that woman cannot not succeed. Not when she's got hundreds of other women cheering her on. However cheesy that sounds, it's absolutely transformative.
Yeah, I agree. There was so much brilliance that you just shared in that answer. So thank you so much for all of that. So much to think about there. And for those who are really intrigued and they want to know more, where can they find more about you? What's the best way and best place to connect with you and to get your book?
Well, I've mentioned the website boldheart.com. I think a great place to start there is, get the book. For $2.95, there's no mistake to be made, right? Also, just see how I've written it so that perhaps you can look at doing something like that in your own business. But go to, I think it's the programs page, look for that documentary, just to start thinking differently about your own path as a woman in business. Go to the member success page and allow yourself to be inspired by video after story, and case study of these women who are at a million, most of them with kids at home, sometimes even little kids who are completely normal. Like you could be standing next to her, behind her at the checkout line at the grocery store with her two kids in the cart, and you would have no idea that she's generating at least 1 million a year and only working 3 to 4 hours a day. And I just part of the work, and I'm sure you do this with your clients too, is about stretching their self-image of what's possible for them. If you see that it can be done by hundreds, if not thousands of other women, it'll change the way you see what's possible for you. So a great place to go and just poke around for some time is Bold Heart.
Excellent. And of course, that link and the other links will be down below in the show notes. All right. So I'd like to just talk to you for days and days on end, but I do have one final question as we
Yes.
round out this interview. And that is, in your business, how do you work smarter, not harder, and keep things lean?
I think it's everything that we've talked about. It's really a combination of what you've said is strategically approaching your business in a different way than you have before. It's about employing systems and different business models and just getting help. Everything that you talk about is what will get you to 1 million with your life back.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much for being here. Just everyone, you might want to listen to this one a second time, just saying. So much gold in this episode. Fabienne, really, really appreciate your time and brilliance and being here with us today. Can't wait to have you back on again for a future episode.
Thank you,
Everyone,
Krista.
I hope you loved this and got as much value out of it as I did. We'll see you again next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.